can tell you that they love you when they never mean it. True love come from God in the name of Jesus. Turn my back on the king, I committed treason. Thank God he forgives, and I was named a preacher, screaming Jesus.
What's up, YouTube? You're Inside the Edge, and I'm back with another video. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm excited to do this video. Today, we're going to get into some NBA talk. You know, the NBA draft just happened, so I know a lot of people are, wondering, how their player that they drafted, how can they fit into their team? What role can they play to win in the championship or competing in the playoffs? There's a lot of, great talent entering the NBA. So with that being said, I will be posting a lot of Summer League highlights. I believe that starts July 7th. So I will be posting a lot of top drafty highlights. I might even live stream it for you guys. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. I got you guys covered. The NBA market is opening up, so I will be breaking down a lot of big trade moves, any big offers or blockbuster trades, I will be reporting. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. So with that being said, I want to make a quick video for you guys. Today, I want to talk about the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, this was a team, for me growing up, this was a team that was always nice. They were always competing in the playoffs. When you look at Tim Duncan, Ginobili, Tony Parker, Greg Popovich always made the Spurs a good team. But it hasn't been like that for the last few years, guys. This team had 22 wins last year. And looking at, Wemby, they landed a really good player in Wemby. So there's a lot of hope for the Spurs, guys. Spurs, they have a lot of hope because Wemby is just that special. And just seeing what he did in his first year, the Spurs should definitely accelerate in trying to get him help and trying to build around him. I think they should do it now. And I guess the biggest question is, can Victor, can he turn San Antonio into a free agent destination? I believe he can. When you look at a lot of stars, they're seeing what he does on the offensive end and what he can do on the defensive end. That definitely should spark a lot of top free agent stars to come sign to San Antonio. So I definitely think that, moving forward, the Spurs team can be exciting to watch. But I definitely think that as of right now, the Spurs is pretty much going the draft route, and that's what I want to get into today. So the San Antonio Spurs drafted Stephon Castle. They went with a guard. It makes all the world in the sense that they went with a guard because, the Spurs desperately needed, a guard coming into this draft, and I think they found the right guy. Looking at Stephon Castle, he's coming from UConn, Connecticut. Obviously, them winning a championship, we've seen it. We've seen how, Stephon Castle was a huge part of their success, being able to be a scorer when they needed him to facilitate. He did that. And I know there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Castle to grow within this Spurs organization. I did see reports that he refused to work out with teams that already had a point guard in place, but he did work out with the San Antonio Spurs ahead of the draft. And it's looking like the Spurs, like I said, they desperately need a dynamic guard that can play on the perimeter. And I think that's what they got in Stephon Castle. Looking at last season, the Spurs, they did average a point total of 112.1 points per game. And the team did average a total of 29.9 assists per game. And that ranked them second in the NBA. So you can see Greg Popovich, he's still pushing on the ball movement culture. And that's always been his philosophy, is sharing the ball. And that's why they averaged 29.9 assists as a team last year. And I thought that was kind of special for them to only win 22 games, but be the, second in the NBA in assists. That just shows that, this team can gel together. And I think Stephon Castle can bring a lot to the table when it comes to facilitating. And I think he fits well because he's listed at 6'6". He has a 6'9" wingspan. He has great court vision, and he can play defense on the perimeter. And that's really important when you look at point guards. When you have a point guard that can play on the perimeter, that's what's going to give you instant minutes. So, looking at what he did in UConn, he did struggle at UConn. When you look at his scoring, his percentage for two-pointers was 26.7%. So he didn't really knock down a lot of his mid-range shots. He wasn't really efficient enough. He wasn't a consistent three-point shooter either in college. So that's something that he's going to have to work on. But again, he does have the summer league. He does have about 3 to 4 months until the NBA season starts. So he can definitely, work on his game, work on being able to pull up at the elbow, being able to, work within the pick and roll and find his way to score. He is a good slasher. He can get to the rim, but I definitely think his strong suit on top of the key is being a defender. And I definitely think that he can help Wemby be a way better player. I think he can help Wemby get to his goals and be an MVP and all of this stuff. Because again, guys, Wemby, I could just read you his numbers real quick. I mean, he had an unbelievable rookie year. You know, Wemby, he averaged 21.4 points, 10.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and he led the league in blocks with 3.6 blocks per game. I mean, this guy is a freak of nature. And when you look at, you know, the Spurs team overall, guys, you know, with Clayton Johnson, you know, Devin Vasley, you know, that Jeremy kid. I mean, they have some talent on this Spurs team, but I think they just need to, you know, bring it all together. And I definitely think that the Spurs team needs veterans. And, you know, this Spurs team just needs a lot more rebuilding. But I think drafting Stephon Castle, we kind of, you know, we're starting to build some momentum now. You know, the market did not open, guys. Again, I'm making this video, I believe today is June 29th. So the market has not opened. So we're going to see a lot of trade moves. We're going to see a lot of, you know, a lot of moves. So this Spurs team may not look the way I'm describing it, or the players now is not going to be on the team to start the season. So there's going to be some mix-ups. There's going to be some players that's going to be moved around. But I think, you know, the Spurs drafting, you know, Stephon Castle, I think, is a good start, and I think he's going to be a really good future point guard. Now, he played a lot of small forward when he was at UConn. He didn't really orchestrate the offense. You know, Tristan Newton was the point guard for UConn all season last year. So Stephon Castle didn't get that opportunity, but I do think that his dreams and aspiration is to be a point guard, and I know he's going to work 10 times hard to be able to be ready to start the season. So for you Spurs fans, I want to hear your guys' opinion on Stephon Castle. What do you think his weakness is? What is it that you don't feel comfortable about? Or do you like this pick? Or do you think the Spurs should have kept Rob Dillingham and, you know, kept both of them? I mean, there's a lot of scenarios of what happened in this draft. But for you Spurs fans, I definitely feel like you guys found a pure point guard, a guy that can compete for championships, and I can see him being a San Antonio Spurs for a very long time. And I think he's probably the most polished player entering the league. You know, being coached by Dan Hurley, he's always coached, you know, all his players at UConn, but specifically he coached Stephon Castle to be a pro and, you know, to teach him to play defense and telling them how important defense is. And I think, you know, Dan Hurley has turned Castle into a pro. And as you can see, even seeing Dan Hurley at the draft, I mean, he was just so proud and just so happy for Stephon Castle to go to, you know, the team he believes is going to make an impact. So with that being said, guys, I hope everyone's having a good day. Drop a like, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace.
Tell you that they love you when they never mean it. True love come from God in the name of Jesus. Turn my back on the king, I committed treason. Thank God he forgives, now his name I'm preaching. Screaming Jesus.